Tapestry. What is it? The word tapestry actually describes both a particular process of weaving and the object, the result. A true tapestry, a definition of tapestry, a true tapestry is a woven textile, not an embroidery. A tapestry is a one-off, hand-woven textile of any size, from miniature to monumental, made on a loom and intended to be hung on a wall. The tapestry technique requires us to completely cover the warp, which is the downward threads, with the weft, which is the one that weaves in and out. And this makes a very strong, sturdy, quite stiff and uniformly surfaced material, which doesn't drape, hopeless for apparel, but perfect for wall hangings. Tapestry is a pleasingly low-tech process. It doesn't require much in the way of equipment, and it's impossible to mechanise. And because of that, really, it's been made in the same, more or less the same way for millennia. But since it's the simplest form of weaving, it's most likely that it was also the earliest form of weaving. The loom and tools that I use would be instantly recognisable, not only to medieval weavers from the European mainland, but also to people from Central and South America and ancient Egyptians, all of whom have a very highly sophisticated textile culture. To be a link in this long chain of weavers working in a similar way, stretching right back to prehistory, is both exhilarating and humbling. Tapestry is both very simple and at the same time infinitely complex. The basic technique can be taught in a day, really, but it takes many years to become a skilled weaver. Tapestry is very slow. Obviously, we live in a kind of much faster world. It's unusual to make something that takes so long. A fast weaver, weaving fairly plain work, can weave up to 10 square metres of weaving a year. I can probably manage only 4 or 5 in a good year. But it doesn't matter. I don't care. It's really not interesting to me how long something takes. The main thing is, really, the other question is, how long will it last? And that's more interesting to me, because a tapestry can last upwards of 500 years. That's amazing. This will be here after I'm gone. I like that. After I'd finally finished my studies, I got a job at West Dean Tapestry Studio. And when I arrived there for my interview, walked into the studio to be confronted by these exquisite, pale, monumental, beautiful, elegant tapestries that they've been working, I just thought, yeah, I want to do this. So I was part of a small team of weavers creating tapestries from artwork by people like Henry Moore, like John Piper and Howard Hodgkin and Eileen Agar. It was very, very, very exciting. It was also probably the most intense learning experience in my career, because although I was quite a good weaver, I'd really only ever worked on my own pieces. And if you get a bit that you're not sure how to do, you can kind of leave it out. But in something that's someone else's design, and you have to make something that looks like it, you have to find ways of doing it. And that was a tremendous challenge and very, very exciting. The Henry Moore drawings were small, but incredibly complex. And we had to find ways of rendering ink on top of watercolour, on top of wax crayon, and worked into with Chinagraph. You had to make all these different media, somehow make all these different media in weave, and it was just really brilliant fun. Also working collaboratively with other weavers. Usually we worked 2 to a loom, and if you had a good relationship with your partner, it was very, very interesting because you would discuss everything back and forwards across the loom. You know, what do you think I should do here? Oh, well, I had a bit over there like that and I did this. And, you know, so we had an incredibly intense and deep knowledge of what was happening sort of almost day to day in this piece that might take 9 months to make. But it was really, really interesting time. And I learned masses of stuff that stood me in really good stead for my own work, really. Why did I leave the studio setting to go and work independently? Well, I started to feel that I could do better designs than a lot of the stuff I was working on. Sounds a bit arrogant, but actually when I was on secondment in Australia for a year while I was a studio weaver, and I happened to end up working alongside Meryl Dumbrell on a tapestry of her own design. And the fact that we could discuss aspects of design and aspects of interpretation, as well as technical aspects and how to do it aspects. And Meryl's work was really, because she was a tapestry weaver first and foremost, her work, her designs were always really weavable. They were weaverly. And that I found that really interesting, that there could be a language that was purely and simply tapestry, a native language. So that started me off thinking about what is the native language of tapestry and how can I bring that out in my work. So I think being in Australia and seeing Australian landscapes and seeing Australian landscapes represented by Aboriginal people as marks, as a map, as something entirely different from Western art, I found that very exciting as well. And I wanted to come back to Britain and to explore my own landscape in these terms, not just as a pretty picture, but as a series of relationships, marks, different land uses, that kind of thing. And somehow I needed to go away to a different country and look at different cultures in order to be able to see that in my own.